Oh hey, you caught me in a trance. I was just standing here thinking, earlier at work today, I had a lot of free time on my hands, and I was thinking about what I could film, what I could say, what I could do. So I just started thinking about video games. One of the things I'm going to be covering here, and started coming up with a little bit of something, and I just, for some reason, was in a dark mood today, so I started thinking about all the games that I've personally played that just pissed me off. So I came up with the top 5 games that I have personally played that made me guarantee that I wouldn't play another game in the franchise ever. So, coming in at number 5, a game that I played back in the day on the PlayStation 2. I picked it up because it seemed to be the answer to one of the games I actually enjoyed. The actual first game I ever got for the PlayStation 2, which was Jak and Daxter. So, this seemed to be the answer to it, and I'm sure you already know where it's going. Ratchet and Clank. I played this game, the very first one, and I was freaking mortified. It was so unbelievably bad. Yet this game made a freaking series out of it. What, 4, 5 games in? And they're making cameo appearances and PlayStation Battle Royale All-Stars and who knows where else. I just couldn't get into it. I thought it was too big of a freaking world, and there was just way too much backtracking. And in some games that can be fun. That could be very fun. Legend of Zelda comes to mind. How you have to, utilize your new weapon to go to some, hidden place that you couldn't get to before. And you knew it was there, and you were just like, oh, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get there, and I'm going to get that heart piece, or I'm going to get that rupee, or something that pulled you in. Ratchet and Clank, I didn't get that feeling. It was just boring. It was so long. It was, you had this huge open world that you were on, and then you come across this place that you can't reach, and you've already got so many other things going on, and they expect you to come back? And who knows when you get the weapon or acquire the item that you need to come back to it. It could be the next world, it could be the next 5. That is what I hated. I never even beat the game. I just got so frustrated with how everything was going back, forth. The progression got just longer and longer, and the story, I don't even remember it. So, yeah, I know I'm probably going to get a lot of flack on this list, but I'd love to hear more about it from you guys anyway. So that was number 5. Number 5, Ratchet and Clank. Next, we move on to the number 4 game. Now, this may seem a bit of a cheat or whatever, because it's not the first in the series, but it really was kind of the first one to garner the most attention. Fallout 3. Everybody seemed to love this game. I mean, they praised it. They gave it Game of the Year editions, and they, perfect 10 out of 10s, or 9 out of 10s, or 5 out of 5s, I didn't see it. I did not see what the big to-do was about it. The game just sat there, and nothing happened. The first part, getting through that underground tunnel thing, and you gotta take the test, and okay, it was just so bland and boring. And then you finally, you escape, you get out to the world, and I understand that there's not supposed to be anything there because it's post-apocalyptic, but Jesus, you just walk and walk and walk. I mean, a video game is meant to be fun, isn't it? It's meant to be, exciting and take you to a world that you've never seen. Well, yeah, I've never seen a post-apocalyptic world, other than, most of your big movies, whatever. But this just God, it dragged, and I couldn't really find myself into it. I started, you know, pulling missions and trying to do all this, that, and the other, and man, my list kept growing, and it was like I was never completing anything. I just kept adding on to my list, and for every one thing I did, two things came on. Even if I was trying to keep the story going on, you know, you run into a person who's in need of saving, or you can choose not to save them, or you run into a gang who tries to attack you, and then you can, you know, maybe join up with, I don't know. I was gonna blow that goddamn town up anyway, but I just said, frig it, fuck it, I'm done. So Fallout 3 guaranteed me that I'm not playing any more of the other ones. So I don't know what New Vegas is like. Apparently it was a great game. Everybody loved it. Not my cup of tea. Number 3. This was a game, I owned a Sega. Who didn't own a Sega? I don't know. Because I did. But, you know, Sega was a good little brand. Had many cool games. And, you know, I didn't have a Super Nintendo. My grandfather did, but I did not. I had a Sega. And it was fun, but there was just something about it. Even when I was that young, I couldn't quite get into it. It had some good things, it had some really bad things. But there was one game that everybody played. It was the game that you had to play. And it even came in the special box that I got with a 6-pack cartridge. 6 games in one, it said. Train. Sorry about that. But 6 games in one. And the main game that they were advertising, the main game that everybody knows, Sonic the Hedgehog. Oh my gosh. I mean, that game was a nightmare, and people love it. They love it. Why? Take Mario, make him faster, and make it to where you can't explore the whole level. You can't explore the entire thing. It's actually punished to you if you try and do that. Why? Well, I don't know. Maybe because there's a time limit. Oh, there's a time limit in Mario. But guess what? It's linear, and you can probably go up and find something hidden. Maybe there's something hidden down here. But you can pretty much find everything. But in Sonic, there was just so many branching paths, and you know, you go all the way over here, but then there was still stuff back over here that you didn't even touch. And it was too fast. I don't see why people got so caught up in the Sonic craze. And now look at what's happened. You know, JonTron's even poked fun at it many times with his Sonic Team videos, which are hysterical, but it does raise a good point. What happened to Sonic? You know, as much as I didn't like the old game, I can at least admit that that was better than the garbage they've been putting out now. So, yeah, that's just kind of my own little take on it. But Sonic the Hedgehog, to me, was not, again, one of my games, and certainly was not really a part of my collection, and not something I looked forward to at all. When they even said, you know, Sonic 2, I was like, what did they change? Nothing! It's the same game, essentially. You're trying to get to Dr. Eggman, you gotta fight the robot things as you go throughout, you don't even really fight, you just kind of ring and jump on top of them, get the rings. I don't know, you know, that was another thing I hated. The rings are your life, and when you get hit, you lose all the rings, and then if you get hit again, you die. I don't know, maybe it, you know, their way of doing the big, you know, the mushroom from Mario, you lose the mushroom and then you die. I don't know, maybe that was just their way, and then you had the way of getting them back, maybe, but to me it was the same game. The first one wasn't even all that good to me, so yeah, and again, I told you, I knew I'd be getting a lot of people saying something about this, so please let me know, talk to me. Anyway, number 2. Assassin's Creed. I have to come right out and say it. I hated that game. I hated Assassin's Creed 1. I beat this game. You know, unlike Ratchet and Clank and Fallout 3 and Sonic, I didn't beat any of them. I actually beat Assassin's Creed. I beat the game. You know what pissed me off? The payoff sucked. Not only did the payoff suck, I knew what was going to happen before it happened. They didn't really hide it very well. The guy who's been training you the whole time, yet, yeah, oh yeah, spoiler alert, but yeah, the guy who's your trainer, I don't know who didn't even play it. Anyway, he turns out to be the bad guy. It blew, I was just like, wow, of course it is. Who else could it have been? There was no one else shown to you in the game that said he's the bad guy. No, it was him all along. He's the only one that knew about all this stuff before you did it, and he sent you out on the... I mean, wow, it sucked. And then it was so easy. It was so freaking easy. I mean, once you figured out how to beat him, he was simple. He was so easy. And, before I get to my number one, I do want to make an honorable mention to a game that I did play, I beat, and along the same lines of the Assassin's Creed game, I hated it. I hated it, the ending sucked, and it was far too freaking easy and pointless. The only reason it's an honorable mention is because I honestly didn't even think about it till right now. Prince of Persia. Oh my god. That game sucks. I like the concept of rewinding time so you get a second chance type thing, but that ending killed every bit of everything you tried to do in that game. The ending was atrocious. It was freaking terrible. And it made me not even bother to touch or play the other games. So, honorable mention, Prince of Persia, Sands of Time. And now, we get to the number one. Number one game. I played it and said, you know what? This is gonna suck. And it blew up. It went bigger than I think even the people who made it thought it was going to do. It spawned clones. It did everything that a game like this usually does. Guitar Hero. Oh yeah. Guitar Hero is probably one of my absolute most hated franchise games of all time. Why? It's the same game. Again, and again, and again, and again. There's the story of... But it's the same story, isn't it? You're a no-name band who's trying to make it big. It's every game. It's every game. You know, and then they started spawning off Guitar Hero World Tour and there's a Metallica, and I get so lost in the rock band Guitar Hero stuff because there's Metallica and the Beatles, and the market just got so oversaturated. How long has it been since you've seen an honest-to-goodness Guitar Hero game? It's been a little while, hasn't it? Oh, sure, you've had the shitty portable games, you know, the DS thing and all that crap, but no. I mean the down-to-earth, actual hold the guitar, play the drums, all that bullshit. It's the same game. It sucked. Why on earth did you people get invested in that game? I will never know. I'll never know. It doesn't matter how you play it too. Easy, expert, you know, if you can play entire songs on the expert level and you're just you've got way too much time on your hand, man, because that ain't worth learning. It's not a good game. What's the point? All it is a score. Think about it. Think back to the 80s when every game you played was about getting that high score. Donkey Kong and Galaga and Space Invaders and Centipede. It was nothing more than who can get the high score, who can get the farthest. What's Guitar Hero? Who can get the high score? Who can get the farthest? You know, that's it. That's all it is. Why in the world did you people get so fascinated by that game? I'll never know. I'll never understand. But anyway, I think that's enough ranting on that subject for a while. So those are my top 5 with honorable mention thrown in there as a little bonus for you. The games that I've played that absolutely killed any dreams of me wanting to continue the franchise. That's just the way it is, guys. If you disagree, let me know. You agree, let me know. Give me a video response. Shoot me something on the comment section. I'm going to give more videos out to you, so this is just a little something. This is Lonnie saying, have a good night, guys. Thanks for joining me.